So hello guys, and welcome to another episode of the 12 Games of Switchmas, and today I will be talking about Princess Peach Showtime. And even though it is lower on the ranking compared to the other games, I still thought it was pretty good, I would say. There were just so many other games that released this year that were absolutely incredible, in my opinion, that it was hard to rank this game that high on the list. Because even though it was pretty good, it does have some flaws, and it does leave a lot to be desired. I feel like this game is kind of like the modern equivalent of like first game syndrome, like with like Super Mario Kart or Mario Party 1. Well, those are good games and have an excellent formula that the game succeeding it kind of built off of. The original game doesn't age quite as well and does have some issues despite the great foundation that it lays for the rest of the series. That's what I feel like Peach Showtime kind of does, even though I feel like it probably will age better than Mario Party 1 or Super Mario Kart. I still feel like there is quite a lot that they could do with this that wasn't kind of built off of in Showtime. And I feel like probably the next game in the series will be the one that people will look back on more fondly and kind of be the more popular one, I would say, just with how the direction of this game is going. Because I think the whole idea behind Peach Showtime is great, like with different transformations for Peach, kind of working with different gameplay styles. I think that is really cool. And I do think this game pulls it off pretty well, I would say, because it doesn't feel directionless like a lot of people were thinking. I do think it does have, like, some consistency, I would say, because some of the gameplay styles, you do see some consistency between them. Like, some of them are, like, kind of melee or action-based, like Sword Fighter Peach, Cowgirl Peach, and Mighty Peach, and other ones like that. And then other ones at least involve like some sort of like platforming or kind of like movement and things. So it does feel like somewhat consistent, I would say, even though there are like a ton of different gameplay styles here. And I love how creative this game is as well. I love the theming with like the theater theming, kind of, it almost kind of reminds me of like how Super Mario Bros. 3 was a little bit, or Thousand Year Door as well. So it kind of has like a similar theming to that, but this time it kind of plays into it even more. Like you are literally in like a stage play that is like coming to life, which I think is like a pretty cool idea. And the characters are pretty interesting too. Like I love the little NPCs, like the Theets. They're really creative and really interesting, and I love their design. Their design looks like something straight out of Yoshi's Island, which I really like. This whole game gives me like quite a lot of Yoshi's Island vibes, and I think that's probably because Goodfield developed it. Like they kind of have that style down with like Yoshi's Woolly World and Yoshi's Crafted World, so it definitely looks great from like an art style perspective. Some people were saying like that it was a bit weird that this game didn't have a distinct style like Wario Land Shake It or the Yoshi games or Kirby's Epic Yarn, but it kind of does. Like the theming of this game is more of like the kind of the stage play theater element of it. That is heavily stylized in this game. So even though it does use like the regular 3D models in some cases, it still does have like a lot of stylization with like the environments and things. And the enemies are pretty cool too. They're kind of like themed around like Madame Grape, which is pretty cool. And Madame Grape, I think it's a pretty cool villain. I mean, even though she's not like super in depth like the Mario RPG villains, her design is really cool. And the boss fight with her at the end of the game is incredible. That is definitely one of the best things about this game. And the boss fights in general are pretty great. They kind of like control differently from like the levels themselves, but they're all kind of consistent, and they're all like really fun. Like they're all really well designed, I would say. That is definitely a highlight here. And just the gameplay in general, I would say, is great. The only problems I have with this game are the pacing, because it can kind of feel slow at times, especially with some of the transformations that aren't action-based, kind of like Patisserie Peach. and some of the ones, or Mermaid Peach. I mean, those are fun, but it does kind of slow down the pacing quite a lot. So if they made things even more consistent, or kind of made things kind of paced like a little better, I would say, I think it would definitely improve some things. One thing that I would kind of change if they did like a sequel to this is rather than doing like separate, like kind of making it inconsistent with like different levels on each floor, like you do Sword Fighter Peach once, you do Sword Fighter Peach again. Rather than doing that, you have like a whole area or a whole world separated into that one gameplay formula, I would say, rather than just different rooms opening up. Because I think that was a bit weird how they handled that. So I think if they have like more kind of self-contained areas with the different transformations, I think that would have made a lot of sense. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel they should kind of change it in the sequel. But the idea behind it is great. And another small-ish thing, like, problem that I have with the game is that it's a little too short, I would say. I mean, sure, there's, like, quite a lot of collectibles and things, but I feel like the game could have been a little longer, even though I said it is slow-paced. There's still, like, it's kind of weird. It's slow-paced, but then at the same time, the game isn't very long as well, so which is kind of weird. So I hope in the sequel things are at least like better paced, and also the length of the game itself is a bit longer. But the whole idea behind the game is great, and I think the game has a lot of good ideas going for it. And I just love the characters in general. So I really hope they make a sequel to this, because I feel like a sequel to this could definitely iron out a lot of the kind of first game syndrome problems with this game, I would say. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Goodbye.